The WNBA is facing another major controversy, and this time the debate is bigger than one game or one player. Brett Cooper has publicly criticized the league over its approach to eligibility rules and the growing debate surrounding biological sex in women's sports. Her argument is simple. If the WNBA says only women are eligible to play, then the league should clearly explain what that means and how eligibility is determined. Cooper also connected the issue to Sophie Cunningham, who has faced intense criticism after speaking publicly about protecting young girls and women in sports. Cunningham has made it clear that she believes women's sports should maintain protection for biological females. Her comments didn't go over quietly. She faced booing at games, criticism online, and backlash from people who strongly disagreed with her position. But instead of walking the comments back, Cunningham stood by them. She explained that she wasn't expressing hatred toward transgender people. Her argument, as presented in the source, was that she wanted to protect young girls and women competing in sports. That distinction became an important part of the controversy. Meanwhile, Cooper focused on the WNBA itself. She criticized the league's approach of holding conversations and listening sessions about eligibility rather than immediately establishing a clearly defined policy. Cooper argued that other sporting organizations have already created eligibility standards. From her perspective, the WNBA should be capable of doing the same, and that raises a question that would eventually become the center of the entire controversy. What exactly does a WNBA mean when it says a player must be a woman to compete? Sophie Cunningham quickly became one of the most visible players in this debate. Her comments about women's sports created a major reaction. She said she believed it was important to protect children and young girls involved in sports. She also connected her position to Title IX and the opportunities women have received through protections for women's athletics. Cunningham didn't present her comments as something she planned to apologize for. Instead, she continued to stand behind them. That made the situation even more controversial. The source described Cunningham being booed at games and receiving aggressive criticism online. The issue also began appearing around WNBA arenas, with supporters and opponents of different positions confronting each other. Players were being asked about the subject during interviews. Coaches were being questioned. And Cunningham's comments became part of a much larger fight over the direction of women's basketball. The controversy also involved the Indiana Fever and coach Stephanie White. The source criticizes White over what it describes as a lack of public support for Cunningham and Caitlin Clark during controversial moments. A Minnesota Lynx coach also became part of the conversation after wearing a shirt supporting trans children during a game involving Indiana. For Cunningham, however, the core argument remained the same. She believed protecting women and girls in sports was important, and she wasn't willing to retreat from that position simply because it was unpopular with some people. That decision made her a target, but it also turned her into one of the most recognizable players in the debate. And then the conversation moved toward another major name, Brittney Griner. Brittney Griner became another major part of the controversy. The source discusses various claims that have circulated online about Griner's identity and eligibility. However, it's important to separate online claims from confirmed information. The source itself states that an alleged DNA test circulating online had not been confirmed by a named laboratory or reputable outlet, so those claims remain unverified. The larger point being made in the source is about the difference in how various controversies are treated. Cooper argues that Cunningham has received enormous criticism for discussing eligibility in women's sports, while questions circulating online about Griner have not received the same attention from the league. That argument brings the discussion back to the WNBA's actual eligibility rules. According to the source, the league's collective bargaining agreement says that women are eligible to play. But critics argue that the agreement does not clearly define what the word women means in the context of eligibility. And that is where the controversy gets much bigger. Because if the league's rule is based on the word woman, critics want to know how the league determines who qualifies. That question was pushed even further when former NBA players Enes Kanter Freedom and Royce White announced plans to declare themselves WNBA prospects. Kanter Freedom argued that he could potentially qualify under the league's current wording. White later made a similar announcement. Their actions appeared designed to challenge the league's eligibility language. The message was essentially, if the rules aren't clearly defined, how does the league determine who is eligible? Suddenly, this wasn't just an argument happening between commentators and fans. The league's own rules were being challenged directly, and now the WNBA had a much bigger problem to answer. Then the controversy returned to the basketball court. In August 2026, during a Fever Sky game, Sophie Cunningham became involved in a physical incident with DiJonai Carrington. According to the source, Cunningham was driving on a fast break when Carrington chased her down and made contact around Cunningham's head and neck. Cunningham hit the floor but managed to finish the play. The officials initially called a common foul. After review, the foul was upgraded to a flagrant 2, resulting in Carrington's ejection. The league's pool report described the contact as unnecessary and excessive and pointed to the wind-up, impact, and follow-through. The incident immediately created another wave of discussion. For some fans, the play was simply a hard basketball incident. For others, it became connected to the much larger controversy surrounding Cunningham. The source also discusses Carrington's previous incidents involving Caitlin Clark and other players. That history influenced how some fans viewed the Cunningham incident. The controversy then moved beyond the court. Carrington faced criticism over a social media post following the ejection, while Reebok's relationship with her was also discussed in the source. Stephen A. Smith criticized Fever coach Stephanie White over her handling of the situation. The tension surrounding the Fever continued to grow. Yet Cunningham herself remained focused on basketball. The Fever defeated Chicago 90-86, with Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell combining for 53 points. But the larger debate wasn't going away, because at this point, the controversy was no longer about a single foul, a single comment, or a single player. It had become a debate about the future of women's basketball and the rules governing who can compete. Brett Cooper is demanding clearer eligibility standards. Sophie Cunningham continues to defend her position. Enes Kanter Freedom and Royce White have challenged the wording of the league's eligibility framework, and the WNBA is under increasing pressure to explain exactly what its rules mean. The biggest question remains: what exactly does the WNBA mean when it says only women are eligible to play? Until that question receives a clear answer, the controversy is unlikely to disappear. And with players, coaches, commentators, and fans all taking sides, the next chapter could become even more heated. What do you think? Should the WNBA establish clearer eligibility rules, or should it approach the issue differently? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more basketball stories and controversies.